Hello friends, welcome back to the Anxiety Project channel. Today we're diving into the nitty-gritty of panic attacks. Panic attacks is something that I've experienced and dealt with in my 20s, and it's why I'm a coach today, that I'm helping other people deal with their anxieties, because anxiety became this monstrous force in my life. It took over everything. And the reason is, and we're diving right into things right now, is because, two. One is that there are many things in my life going on at one time, many catastrophic, overwhelming things happening all at once that it was hard for me to deal with, that caused my panic, but also I steered off the path early on in my life. And that's the thing, that's the Jonah and the whale story, where Jonah is contemplating his life in the belly of the whale. That's where I ended up with my anxiety disorders. I ended up contemplating the steps of my past to like how I ended up here in this chaotic underbelly of panic anxiety and health anxiety and agoraphobia. What the heck happened? I got to this point one small step at a time. So there's two ways your anxiety and your panic can accumulate. One is that like 5 terrible things happen to you at one time. One of your family members gets ill, you lose your job, or you're having some rocky problems in your relationship, or you get diagnosed with something, and then like 5 of these happening all at once. So no wonder you're suffering from anxiety, is because there are so many damn snakes in front of you that you can't contend with them all at once. Like, how are you even one of them is complicated to contend with, let alone 5. So yeah, panic is a natural way of it's a sign that your body's like, well, there's too much uncertainty and I'm just crumbling under the weight of that. And then also, panic can come about because you steered off of this path and you reached a dead end, meaning you can no longer function the way that you're functioning. There's no way you can continue to afford like your social media habits, or your drug and alcohol usage, or your pornography usage, or the negative friends, or just the lifestyle you're living. It just reached its end, and it's this natural way of existence telling you that you need to readjust, reorient. You need to let go and burn away so much of what you're holding on to, so that you can acquire some sort of peace in your life. Everyone is on a path. I think it was Carl Jung that said, pay attention to the narrative of your life, because you could be acting out a tragedy. And so when Jonah is in this belly of this beast, well, how did he get there? Well, at first, he heard God's call, the call of his conscience to help these people, to not be so self-fulfilling, but to be selfless and to help and take on responsibility of the world. But he refuses the call. He decides to follow his own desirous whims, and so he runs away from responsibility, like we all do when we want to kind of overindulge and not go to work and complain about work and not take on the responsibilities of life, and avoid having children and avoid difficulty. You want to kind of live and bathe in this self-fulfilling, grandiose kind of idea that you have, but then all of a sudden, the more you steer away from responsibility and hardships, what happens is that your tolerance for pain greatly decreases, and the pleasurous side of yourself is always seeking and grasping. But what's so interesting about that side is it's never going to feel fulfilled, is because your tolerance for pleasure is going to continuously increase. And you're always going to feel this dissatisfaction when you have a moment's rest from the pleasurous side of what you're trying to pursue, right? And that's because, like Dr. Anna Lemke says, is when you separate yourself for a moment from the things that you're addicted to, your pain side of this balance in your brain starts to go up, and you start to feel uneasy, you start to crave, you start to feel this anxiety. And then what happens is that you're going to kind of dive back into something pleasurable to soothe and numb and distract you from that sort of pain and uneasiness. But the problem with this is that life is full of uneasiness and pain and responsibility that's unavoidable. You can't avoid those bills and the work and the early mornings and the responsibility of children, or the lingering idea of mortality in your health. That we're finite creatures, that we could die at any moment. And when that kind of pops its ugly head of, oh my God, I could die, I could actually have an illness, I'm dealing with something I can't control. But you feel like you can control things because you're reaching for pleasurable items and things around you to kind of like, hey, I distract yourself from it. But what happens when you can't distract yourself from it? How are you going to deal with it? And that's where people are ending up today, is they don't know how to deal with that discomfort. Like, I can't control this situation, I need to control it. And so your anxiety is going bonkers at this point, because you can't let go. You can't say, I trust in my body, because maybe you don't have trust in your body. People suffering from panic, they have no trust in themselves, and to deal with this. That's one thing that happened to me when I was suffering from panic attacks, is that when I would be in that situation and I was like barbed wire, I was just like, oh my God, I have to flee from this situation. I realized, well, what I need to do is to trust in my body and let go of this kind of fear of like wanting to get out and see what happens, like this leap of faith, because I knew that I needed to stay in the environment so that I could make new associations. That, even though I'm feeling all of these strange sensations, heart palpitations, shallow depth of field, shallow breathing, nausea, sweating, all of this, I thought, the only way I'm going to overcome this is to actually ride this wave of hell for an hour, 2 hours, and then do this consistently so that I can learn. But even when I'm in environments where I feel trapped and I might be judged by other people and I could survive, man, I'm going to be confident the next time I go out, and then it'll keep gradually increasing. So my pain tolerance started to increase. I could tolerate this more and more the more I would remain in that hell-like state of panic, right? And the panic was a sign, really, and this is what I said at the beginning of the video, it was a sign for me that my life was in like a very uncertain kind of rocky way. I needed to add certainty in my life, of course, by routine, but adding the right routine into my life, subtracting these pleasurable things that were keeping me craving and the anxiety at large. When I would separate myself from these certain things like pornography or like caffeine or like a lot of negative friends and marijuana, what happened was it would be a temporary withdrawal. It'd last a month. But after the month, what happened was the anxiety would lessen and I would start to feel more calm. And so one thing to know is that the original problem you had anxiety over could be something about your job, could be about your family, whatever it is, that turns into health anxiety, because anxiety produces a bunch of sensations. Like I said, the dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea, rapid heartbeat. The heart one is a very popular one. That brings about health anxiety because you start to ruminate about your own mortality, about your health. But the original problem was maybe around your work or something around your life, right? That needs to be solved. Finances, relationships. And so one thing that I do in my coaching is I talk to my clients about their relationships, their lifestyle, their patterns, and their job. Do they have friends? Do they have an intimate relationship? Do they have some sort of job security? And that's all important, because if one of those is disrupted, it could definitely impact your mental health. And so uncertainty is represented by this symbol of the Ouroboros, the dragon that eats its own tail. Now, what that means is that you are slave to your desires, because they're providing you with that fulfillment of pleasure and the decrease of pain. But like I said before, it's because the pleasure is so tilted to one side and the pain is down over here, that whenever you start separate yourself, that the pain goes up and you start to get this craving. And that's the thing, is the pleasure that you're engaging in, the indulgences, is producing the anxiety because of this twofold effect it's happening. You don't understand what something is doing to you until you separate yourself from it, like I did with pornography or caffeine or sugar. Is when you separate yourself, you see, oh my God, there's this strong withdrawal. I'm throwing up, or I'm just irritable. I'm just like on the ground, clenching myself in frustration. Oh my God, this must be a serious problem. And then a lot of people go through that, is when they separate themselves, they're like, I can't believe how strong these withdrawal symptoms are. I must be addicted to this. This must be some sort of dragon. And then on the other side of this pain of withdrawal is like this relief. It's this relief. So one, you need to separate yourself from all of these external means that you use to numb, soothe, and distract you. But you need to spend time with your own mind to kind of formulate a path through the unknown. That you need to calm yourself and to center yourself around the issues that you're contending with. Why you're feeling anxiety and panic. And you have to write them all down. You have to talk to somebody about this. And that's what's going to help you through the fog. Two, you need to have a role model. Well, this kind of goes along with one, you need to talk to someone about it, but also you need to have other role models that you can look to that have struggled through addiction, that you can relate to. It's like, yeah, I relate to this guy or girl that struggled through alcohol or pornography or drugs, through anxiety. How did they get through this? What steps did they take in order to break on through to the other side? But also, what are they like now? Is it worth giving up alcohol or marijuana for this? It's a leap of faith. But when you surround yourself with these types of people with this kind of mindset, what happens is it starts to bleed out into you, and it starts to plant seeds within you, and it starts to provide you with inspiration and motivation, and that you can see a bit of yourself in them. That's the key here. So when you're dealing with panic, I have a link below to a 1, 2, 3 guide to deal with panic attacks. But remember this, that panic attack is a sign of something greater, something deeper. You've reached an end here, that your lifestyle needs to change. The medications, the drugs, the alcohol, that's a temporary relief, but it's only going to fuel your anxiety and panic. It's only going to increase the unhealthy identity you see yourself in the mirror to be. That's a bad thing, because when you're overcoming panic, you have to build on this new confident and healthy identity. So yeah, the drugs, the medications, they don't work. Okay? They don't work. What you need to do is you need to develop a new way of living, a new lifestyle, new routine, new habits, and you have to spend a lot of time with yourself. And it's going to be a lonely journey at some points. right? That really, it is. You're going to have to spend time with yourself and figure out a path through the muck. So anxiety, it's a deeper issue than just, oh my God, there's a problem with my heart, I got to go to the emergency. It's more like you want to trust in yourself. That's what you really want. You want to trust that you can contend with the discomfort of life. That's it. You've been through it before. You can get through this next one. Rise above anxiety. I'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this community. Please comment below. Also, give this a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because then you'll be the first to know whenever I release a new video.